Hello and welcome to another edition of The Cauldron, the behind-the-scenes insight to everything Aberavon RFC. I'm Sean Holley and I'm joined by Head Coach Jason Hyatt here. Jace, thanks for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and talk to us.
Always a pleasure, Sean.
It's been a busy season and it's been a difficult one for many reasons. Some good, some not so good, and lots of injuries, like a lot of squad. How difficult has it been to manage this year, Jace?
Yeah, by our standards, we set ourselves high standards as coaches and players and everyone in the club. And, it's been almost like being on a roller coaster this year. We've had some great results and we've had some poor results. And, we had injuries at the start, but certainly not going to blame those because the players we've brought in have been very positive. We've uncovered and unearthed some real good talent. James Clegg, and who was playing 15 for Ponderevent last year. Now he's playing second row for the Wizards. So good story there. Scott Whitlock at 9. So we've been able. The injuries have allowed us to blood probably more players at a young age than what we normally would have. But yeah, it's been we wanted to be in the playoffs. That was a target we set ourselves. We haven't been in the playoffs. Going back 6 weeks ago, we could have been, and then we had a nasty result down in Carmarthen Quins. But I just feel as long as you learn from those disappointing games, then it feels like the world's coming down around you around that time, and everyone feels the same, and no one feels it more than the players. But on a positive note, they've been great in training, and I think that showed against Llandovery. That was a game we created many opportunities. We didn't score 3 tries from 5 metres off their try line, and if we'd scored those tries, we would have beaten Llandovery with a bonus point. So I think the confidence within the squad has remained high, and that showed in the Llandovery performance, which is a tough task, as you know. It's it's easy to start blaming everyone around you, but I think the players have been really good this year, and we've seen some real good leadership qualities emerge.
You've been around this league a long time, Jason. I asked a similar question to the captain, Joe Gage, earlier, that when you play the likes of Llandovery, Newport, who've been riding high, maybe Cardiff last year, when you play those sides, what do you feel has been the difference between us and those sides this season?
If you look at Newport, we were in the game. We should have been ahead at half time, and we missed a driving line out 5 metres out. And it's just those little. I think what you've got to do against Llandovery, they don't concede many tries. They've got a good defensive record, and when you get the opportunity to make a kill, you've got to make the kills. If you don't make those kills, they'll punish you. But I think the main difference really on Saturday, and it showed, was they played with a little bit of probably more confidence, and they were quite happy to throw the ball around. But I felt we matched them. We matched them blow for blow. Set piece was really good. We put some pressure on their set piece. It was just a fact we didn't make those kills in key areas. And I think when we've had it ourselves, going back 2022-23, we won our first 6-7 games, and it just felt we played Merthyr. I know it was a back and forth game, but we came out winners. And I think when you there's only one way to get confidence, really, is by winning. And then it sort of snowballs into another win, and you almost win games. We think, oof, that was a little bit lucky. But I think there's it proved Saturday there's not a lot in it. And I think where we've as I said, we played some great rugby on Saturday, made some good line busts, and some of the youngsters are really coming through for us, and I think that's going to benefit us going into next year. But yeah, there's not a lot of difference between, we've seen Neath pulling some results out. There's not a massive gulf in that league, and I think it just comes down to, one-on-one situations and just taking those chances.
Yeah. You and Chris and Joe on this episode have spoken a lot about the young players, which is great. And for whatever reason, it almost feels like the profile of the squad now does lend itself to what's coming up in the next season. There's a lot of talk of this EDC, the Elite Development Competition. It doesn't seem to be too much information out there for supporters. I mean, can you maybe enlighten us a little bit as to what we can expect next year?
Yeah, I think, well, first off, when we played in the cup final against Newport, we had an age profile. Average age was over 30. I think it was 32. Our average age on the 32 players I've signed now is 23. So, that's a huge shift in age profile. We've got a young captain in Joe Gage, who's come through the Ospreys Academy and come into Aberavon, doing a terrific job in holding the players, and really conducts himself well, speaks a lot of sense. And he's a credit to the squad. He's great to work with. Taking over from Joe Tomlin Reeves, who was a very different type of captain in terms of blood and guts with Joe. We'd follow Joe into war, and so two different styles of captaincy, which I've enjoyed working with a pair of them. But I think the young players coming in, we've seen Ben Gregory coming in, James Clegg, Scott Whitlock, these guys. I've just signed 3 players that are from last year's Ospreys under-18s. 2 of them I can't play because they're still 17.
Yeah.
Tate Shaw and Charlie Thomas. So, that bodes really well for the future. And I think when you asked the question earlier, Llandovery are almost where we were 2 years ago. So they are going to have to face that at some point. You look at the Llandovery backline. The Iros is doing a good job of sort of bringing youngsters in, but it's a lot older than our backline, and I think a lot of teams are like that. So I think we've addressed it well. We've signed well for next year. I think the EDC is exciting. They're calling it the EDC, but obviously there's going to be a sponsored league next year and a new name, and so I think, what I've seen of it, I'm really looking forward to it, because I think if people embrace it, let's be honest, you can be negative about everything. There's a lot to be negative in life about at the moment. And I think if you take the easy route and you always look at the negative side, then that's the easy option.
Yeah.
I look at it really with 100% positivity. There are challenges. The budget is challenging, everything else. But I think what we are putting in place for next year, we've looked at everything from behind the scenes, our coaching, taking on a new S&C coach. We're looking at taking on a full-time analyst. Our job, or my job, if you like, as head coach stroke director of rugby is just to give the players the environment that they can thrive in, and then building a good coaching team that will help bring that out to the players. People like Tate, we talked about earlier, he's 17, he's in terrific shape. He's going to learn the game now with Aberavon, as is Charlie, as is Adam Baker, a young 18-year-old tight head.
Yeah.
These youngsters are going to thrive in our environment, and our job is to sort of facilitate that education, if you like, make sure they're enjoying themselves, because that's an important part of rugby. But they've got to have a good time doing it, and we've got to sort of support them through that process. And I think that's what we've done this year. We've had, as I said, ups and downs, but we've got, if we looked at James Clegg, when he came to us, talking to Mark Breeze, we wish we'd filmed him in the first line out, because he'd never been lifted before. So we had Rod Hughes had to put wraps on him. Then he was lifted. He's already 6'5". But you look at him now, he's someone that could potentially go further in the game.
Yeah.
So, that's exciting. I love seeing a player coming in. And it wasn't long ago, I've been sitting in the trophy room signing players this year. Same trophy room as where we signed Jack Morgan a couple of years ago, who had drawn a line into professional rugby, took an apprenticeship option up, and then, a couple of years later, he's captain of Wales.
Yeah, well, and being talked about as a potential lion. Now you talk about the fun and the environment and that. And I've asked our other guests tonight, Jay, it's the same sort of thing. Couldn't want for a better club at the moment at this level than Aberavon RFC. Brilliantly run, well supported. A lot of those young players you talked about are local players as well, and that will mean a lot to our fans, wouldn't it?
Yeah, definitely. We don't like to go to the market and bring a player in, unless we've sort of exhausted all opportunities around here. Scott Whitlock is a perfect example. We'll carry 3 9s, and we'll have 3 9s on board next year. Liam Seaward's, I think he's 22, 23. Another youngster. I think the Stars have been great with us. They've got a big game on Saturday. I think they play in Swansea Uplands. Good luck to both sides. I've got to say the Uplands, because my daughter Leah's boyfriend plays 15 for the Uplands, and they're a great side. They've got a great clubhouse, and they're doing really well. So that'll be a great game. Which whoever wins that, good luck to them. But I think the youngsters have energised, and that, Sean, when you've experienced that in the Ospreys. You bring a little bit of new blood in, and it changes the dynamics. And I've seen it already, and I'm really looking forward to, we'll check out now on the 23rd, where we review the season in full, and we ask some searching questions of ourselves, give the players the information. They'll go away and obviously work on their conditioning. And then we come back in the end of June, and then we start prep with a check-in meeting, and then we go from there. But I'm really excited at the squad that we've to work with. I think it's nearly 70% of the players I've signed at the moment are 23 or under. So that's really exciting, because these guys are really thirsty, hungry for knowledge. Put in a sprinkling in of the Rowan Jenkins and the Geraints and the Shea Smallmans, the Ashton Evans in the back row. Mix that in with it to help those boys develop. And, it's an exciting mix there, and I'm really looking forward to that.
Tough season, one to go, as it were. But you've teed up next season superbly well, Jace. Good luck. We all look forward to watching it next year.
Cheers, Sean. Thanks very much.